Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. We always find a way to mess with everything right before we come on the air. And maybe if we came on more than 3 minutes earlier, we'd be set up.
Can you hear me now? Wait, can you hear me?
Maybe I just play that game with Spencer all the time. How you doing today, big guy?
I'm good. I'm in London this week with a work event, and it's very hot. I'm thankful I work in sales this week because I've been working outside and slugging tires. And you're adjusting because I'm higher than you, aren't you? And you can't.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not. No, you're normally a lot taller, but normally you slunch way down. You've got what we call like so much headroom on your show usually that it's throwing me off.
30 years later, I'm starting to understand you.
That's all right. Show 280 with an exclamation point. Can you imagine we'd be here 280 weeks later? That sounds like a long time.
I'm surprised.
Like a long time.
Too. Take the 80 out just at show 2. We made it to show 2. That was impressive. Then another
28 probably was a miracle. 28 was probably a miracle too. We made it that far, but here we are. We appreciate everybody still hanging out with us. Adam, I know you got to Flamborough last night. We're just here to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I don't want to break into it too much because we are hoping to get the winner, Sean Chenoweth, on the program with us in about a half an hour. So where I was going with that is you mentioned a lot of G-Force fans, a lot of people reaching out to you as you were there, which is great to hear that you guys let us know you appreciate it because sometimes it's a grind for us. And sometimes we want to throw in the towel. And sometimes we want to kill each other. But all that positivity sure helps, you know?
No, it definitely does. And people enjoying the fact that we disagree on a lot of things, that helps. Because I don't just want to disagree with you all the time. But for the sake of entertainment, I'm willing.
That's fair. First off, just want to say thanks to everybody who subscribes to G-Force TV for free. If you're watching us on YouTube, just click the little bell at the bottom. If you're signed in using your Gmail account or your Google account, it'll just remind you when we come on and when any of our programming comes on, including us, Cam Harris, his show on Monday. Get well, Cam. I know he had a fall at the races and he's injured this week, so hope you're feeling better, Cam. He's with us here tonight. So if you watch Cam or us or any of the micro sprint go-kart stuff or Friday night stuff, you get a notification when we come on, so make sure you subscribe that. And last thing I got to say, Adams, what do you want to talk about? Fill up our comments with anything you want to talk about. We throw out some of the thoughts that we want to talk about each week, but we'd love to hear what you want to talk about because you guys spur us on to greater things. Go ahead, Adam. What did you have in mind?
August long weekend, Clint, is a real turning point in the season in so many ways. Again, to reiterate what you said, Cam, we hope you get feeling better real quick. But the August long weekend, now we start counting down to the end of the season. And I wish I could overcome that in my mind, but I can't. But there's always some great races. The weekend up at Sauble Speedway. I mean, let me tell you, I want to talk about some positive things. Huge crowd at Sauble Speedway Saturday. I don't know how their Sunday crowd was, but I know their Saturday crowd was excellent. Fantastic crowd at Flamborough Speedway last night. The pits were, of course, John Caselli complaining. I met him at the gate. He was at the gate in his golf cart when I went in. Oh, all these people in the pits. It makes me nervous. And he's shaking his head and think, John, come on, man. You've got a great night. So many people want to be a part of it. So many of the older faces, you know, people you see at big events like Ross May and Wayne Keeling. And, you know, there's just so many like that who don't go to a ton of races anymore. But when it's a big event, they make it a point to go out. And last night at Flamborough was a big event. I've got lots to complain about, but I was just so happy that so many people showed up that the complaints don't matter.
I do want to hear what you've got to say. Obviously, when we're complaining, it's for the love of the sport. We want things to be better. And you know, Fran's mentioning that they stopped by Ashwigan himself, Stephen Petty, and a few other Ransomville staff. Yep. Got to visit us on Friday, and it's funny that we don't notice a lot of the things that we have going on because we live it. until someone else from the outside makes you look in. And not like Fran or Steven saying anything, but I was coming through, I was coming down. I don't know. I was in the area, maybe when I brought the water up or something, but it was a downtime for us. We were like not starting because of TV, or we were in a TV timeout, and it was so quiet. And I'm thinking, man, and I just thought, what are those guys thinking? Because there's no way Steven and Fran would ever let us have this dead air if we weren't on TV. And even though that's not an excuse. So we got to fill up those gaps a little bit. And I appreciate them guys being there. If for no other reason than it spurred me on to think, man, I wonder what they're thinking right now. What's going through our head. So we'll work that out. Another quick just comment came in. Johnson's Garage says, who knew we could listen? I could watch this while we're flying to California. So we appreciate you taking us 35,000 feet with you right now. We got all kinds of good stuff to talk about. So anything you want to talk about, let us know. What a great week. Where do we go from here, Adam? Anything else you want to cap off before we dive in?
Let's be more specific. Give us your highlight of the weekend. Give us your low light of the weekend. Either one is fine.
What's yours?
Excuse me, I just choked on it. Here's a little known fact. Clinton, you're giving away $1,500 at the end of the year. Who was the driver who was most often fastest in practice? It's a really neat award, and I believe it's sponsored by Carmen's. Am I correct, or is that not happening? Don't shake your head at me.
There's a couple things that are being confused, and I'm glad you brought this up. Not here, but we need to talk about it. So, okay. Carmen's Hot Lap Hero is just a TV element that features one of the drivers who looked good, and that our fans should maybe keep an eye on, someone who started their night off good with some good times in hot laps. That's all that is. The Six Nation Tourism Fast Lap Hot Lap Challenge is for the driver in their race who turns the fastest time, the fastest lap in each of their features gets 1 point. So if you're the fastest, yes. So if you're the fastest lap in your feature, and here's where this is still a very cool program. It is $1,500 at the banquet for the driver who has the most points at the end of the year. So this is the one program where a mini stock battles against a crate sprint, battles against a 360 and the Thunders, and everybody fights each other to see who has the most points at the end of the year. So I did want to clarify that. So hopefully that didn't throw your thought too far off, but that's kind of where we're at.
I don't know shit. So my whole story is just forget I started talking.
That's fair. I'm sorry I had to bring that up, but I heard you guys mention that on the air the other day. I meant to talk about it. My highlight of the weekend, and you can think of what yours is if you don't have one. My highlight was a message I got on the weekend.
Go for
My
it.
highlight was from Kevin Lovey's at about, midnight Saturday after I left Sauble and was headed back. He said it was Ashwigan damn near swept the podium at Eldora. So I immediately looked at the results and saw that, Darren Dryden, Tyler Pallas, Ryan Turner were second, third, and fourth, which was crazy. And we'll welcome Darren to the program now. Now, Adam, do you remember what happened last time Darren was on the program?
Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, Adam slept through it. Now I was hoping you'd step right into that and be like, no, I don't remember. And I'm like, yeah, because you sort of slept through it. But
it took me a second. It took me a second, but no. So stand back, Clinton. Hey, Darren, awesome work. I mean, Eldora Speedway, does it feel iconic when you pull in there? And when you're getting your shit together and getting ready, like, do you realize you're in one of the meccas of dirt racing?
Yeah, it was definitely super special. Like last time I went there had to have been 7-8 years ago. I was watching NASCAR truck. I, at that point, never even thought I'd be racing on dirt. So to go back as a driver and to actually race the track, it was definitely a very surreal experience. And definitely lives up to the hype of what that track is. I've never been on a track of that caliber. It was definitely eye-opening, but I've never been so excited in my life to race on a track, and it was probably the most fun I've ever had too, out of all the racing I've ever done. So yeah, it was eye-opening for sure.
Darren, what a drive! I mean,
I could see the happiness disappear at a Clinton. So what do you mean? You've never been? You race Ashwigan? I could see it, Clinton, your face. Come on, say it. Say
No,
it.
I wasn't even going there at all. I was thinking more along the lines of like, you guys going down there and running as good as you did gets back to, it gives our drivers hope. Like I was talking about this with Barry from GLSS, and how big of uh, how big of a statement you guys going down there and running that well is. I think it may be lost on a lot of people right now, and it seems like only one race. But Adam and I are in with the NASCAR Canada Series for many years, and one thing we've been bitching is nobody aspires to do that anymore. Kids don't grow up at Flamborough hoping to race that series anymore because it's so far out of touch. You guys running as well as you did at Eldora brings all of that back into grasp. You can race on those video games that we all did growing up at Eldora, and there you guys were almost winning it. Spencer, I don't know if you got it queued up to about the 3-minute mark of the highlight reel from Flo, but if you do, let's run it. Let's let Darren take us through these last laps. Darren, you had this race won. How freaking painful is this to watch over and over?
Yeah, I've watched it too many times, but as many know, it's nothing's harder than leading the race. I was just trying to be, a little conservative, keep the car underneath me, and not pinging off the fence. I've never ran a track like this. I've never had to run the wall. I'm out there learning every lap, and these guys around us, they've done it many times, even in a 410. I've never even done a lap in a 410. So. Me right here, I did not expect the 17 car to be running the top. He had ran the bottom the last 3 laps, and I just made the wrong call. And dirty air is a hell of a thing with these cars at that track, and that's something I was learning too. Once he made a slip coming out of 2, he went a little higher than I expected. There was normally going to be a lane for me up at the top. I figured I hadn't seen anybody for 10 laps. I'm more than, safe. Obviously, I wish I had ran the bottom, but I didn't expect him to make a slip up and run to the top. And as he did, I got stuck in his dirty air there, and I went to go basically cut down after I already, burped the throttle a bit. But once you lose momentum, you're done. So I anticipated maybe I'll be able to hang it up top there. And when he did a short slide to the top, it just killed me in his dirty air, and I couldn't. I wasn't able to cross him over. We were close, like realistically, one more lap or one less lap, and we had it won. But at the end of the day, it stings not getting that win. But it was definitely the best race of my career, even though I didn't win. And it really just proved a point. Proved that we are capable, and what we've learned at Ashwigan and everywhere else has definitely allowed us to compete at that level. I'm sure we, shocked many because, we're not somebody to travel like that too. But to be able to go out there and, qualify third in flight, run second in the heat all over Standby, their champion, and then go out in the feature. And, I didn't know we would have a chance to win. But once I came through that first corner, I'm like, you know what? The top line was good in the B. I know it's where to be. I've been told by a few guys, if the cushion's visibly there, you got to trust it. And I was like, I'm either going to go in the fence or we might come out to be a hero here. So once I came out of the back straightaway there and had that hell of a run, I figured, we have a chance at this, and put my head down and did what I had to do. But it's just unfortunate that it ended the way it did. But it really opened our eyes and opened everybody else's eyes too. So definitely was a good statement for our entire track, really, everybody that was competing there and running so well.
How bad do you want to get back there?
Oh, badly. We were basically waited a year to do this. We were one of the ones last year that tried to do it. Got stopped at the border, and obviously, did the safe approach going this time. And we'll be back. We'll be back at the end of the year to do one more event at the Four Crown event. So we'll be there. We're definitely excited. That's definitely, my favorite track right now. I just had so much fun there. I couldn't believe the speeds. I've never felt wing speed like that in my life. And just the way the car reacts, it's eye-opening. And it was a phenomenal track. Like, we obviously worried going into that bump going to be in there in corner 1. It was a great track. No complaints at all. It was very racy. There was a bottom, there was a top, and I think we all showed it. But I definitely, I even, I didn't think I was going to be able to run the wall too. So I was very comfortable.
I want to ask you about that.
What's that?
I want to ask you about running the wall at Eldora compared to running the outside at Ashwigan. You can blow
Yeah,
it
I would
off
be,
at Ashwigan. That's
yeah.
concrete beside you. Talk about the first time you did it. What goes through your mind?
Yeah, honestly, I knew I couldn't lift. I've been told by numerous drivers like don't lift, that's going to suck you into the wall. And yeah, we were learning every lap. I didn't know I was going to, that be that stable up top there. And quite honestly, it's only my first race there and I felt more comfortable running the top there, running the fence than I do running the top at Ashwigan. I don't know why. It may have been partially our setup, just a combination of everything, but it just felt right, felt comfortable. I felt fully in control and I had a blast. Obviously it looked like we were bouncing off the wall in the middle of corner 1 and 2, but there was just a lot of tack up there and a nice berm that you could hit and get some grip off of. I felt really good there. And, I'm not going to lie. I found, a lot of that comfort may have even came from, my experience on my simulator too. Like I've done probably more laps on, at that track at Eldora on my simulator than I have, at Ashwigan in real life. And once I did it for my first few laps, it kind of just clicked, and I just needed to keep hitting my marks. And I knew I did end up going to the bottom, but I knew the bottom was going to go away. It just seemed too, consistent to the top, and I knew the top was going to come in. So I just decided just to commit to the top and just let it come to me. And I was definitely really pleased with how comfortable I was up there and everything.
No, Adam, it wasn't that long ago that if we had said that a bunch of us weekend guys were going to go down there and dominate Eldora, it would almost be laughable. So the way our guys ran, it was super impressive, and I think it really puts Ashwigan on the map. And we've seen this progression at home when the ESS now come, they're struggling to even get to the podium, whereas if any one of them showed up, they would automatically be podium material. So our guys have really picked up their game quite a bit. I just want to get back to a discussion about scheduling. Adam, I think I mentioned you and Dave Hunsinger. What do we do on that weekend? Because we have to give it off for powwow. It's 2 weeks off for the 360s for the 360 Nationals in Knoxville, and nobody seems to be going there for that. But, man, this weekend and what happened at Eldora makes me think we still need to give these guys a chance to go to the States on that weekend and try and represent us on a stage like Eldora, because it's just as big as Knoxville in those types of things. Darren, let's switch gears to Brighton also. Brighton's coming up this weekend. You're a champion of that series before. How do you feel about that going up? Are you planning on going to Brighton this weekend for the Lawns We Do 360s?
Honestly, our team won't be there. We did miss the first race of their season, so we're not really in the points with them. We just kind of, our team has definitely been committed to doing a lot of races, and it's good to get the team some time off too. So we're not fully committed in that division, but we're, we like to see, everybody do well and everybody to attend that can make it. But unfortunately, our crew has some other plans, so we won't be there. But that's totally fine, and we might be there, Labor Day. We'll see.
When you go and travel to an event like that, and there's you, Tyler Powless, Ashton Van Every, Nick Sheridan, DJ Christie. Do you interact much with the other Ashwigan teams, or do you keep to yourselves and keep your heads down?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us are, interacting and whatnot, but at the same time, we're really focused, trying to take it all in. And there's so much happening on that night. You don't want to be late for getting up to the track and all this and that. So very much so, I was just focused, keeping to myself and just taking it all in. It was definitely, a very surreal experience. And they moved their show pretty quick too. Like you really had to stay on top of it. You want to be able to read the track and just, stay focused. Socializing was more so after the fact and to take it all in. But yeah, I'd say most of us were definitely very, very much focused for the opportunity that was at hand. Only comes once a year, and it was basically, as far as I know, a first for everybody that did make the trip.
No, it's super cool. Darren, what's next for you on the calendar? We got Friday coming up at Ashwigan, and then we go to this new tire. Obviously, you were happy with it because you ran with it on Saturday. How's that going to affect things at Ashwigan? This is the last Friday on the softer, wider tire that we've been on for decades. We switched to the more national tire, let's call it that. You were on it. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Everybody's going to be in the same boat for it, and really, what it comes down to is who can adjust quicker and make it work. We've been running on that tire when we go run with GLSS. The one weekend we did ESS when they came to our track and whatnot. So we're comfortable. We feel good with it. Obviously, a little bit less traction than what we're used to. But that's fine. Everybody's in the same boat. I find more so the track conditions mean a lot more than what tire you're running when everybody's on the same tire. So I'm not too concerned.
Do you expect to feel different, Darren, when you roll out onto the track at Ashwigan Friday? That's a big deal. Finishing second at Eldora, forget about how you got there, but finishing second at Eldora is a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely, helps our team's confidence all around. But at the same time, we know Ashwigan's always been a track that we haven't been as, dominant at or as strong at as other tracks we've been to. We've always thought maybe it's the big tracks. Maybe that's what we're lacking. But to go to Eldora and do what we did is definitely eye-opening. And, we're going to, carry some of that knowledge back to Ashwigan and maybe improve what we got going on there. But we know it's a matter of time for us to get up front at Ashwigan. We're running a lot stronger. We got multiple podiums. We're kind of picking it up. And one thing with us too, we got to remember it's only, my third year of running 360, and a lot of these guys have a lot more experience than us. So we're still getting the handle on things, and we're getting a lot more consistent and kind of, showing that we can be a threat each time we hit the track, which is definitely very rewarding for our team.
Right on, Darren. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. Great job by you and all the Ashwigan crews down there on Saturday, putting us out on the national stage. And as the promoter, we certainly appreciate it. And like we said, we keep telling everybody how great you guys are, and you guys go out and prove it. So thanks for the great run and representing us the way you guys did, man. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was definitely a pleasure, and I'm glad we could represent you guys and see all the fans, the local fans, watch on board, and tag along with Flo and see what we were able to do. It was definitely cool to see all the feedback. Everybody definitely got some great feedback on that event.
We'll see you Friday night.
See you guys.
Darren Dryden, everybody, fresh off his second place run at Eldora last Saturday with the Great Lakes Super Sprints. Yes, Derek Dockstader is asking, will the GLSS announcer be announcing at Ashwigan with the GLSS race in a couple weeks?
No.
Yes, Adam, we didn't get to talk to you about it, but yeah, he'll be joining you guys in the tower.
The booth is full. No, he's good.
This weekend,
he's very good.
What are you doing? What are you doing tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, I'll probably help Connor work on his car. Why? Should I go out and work for the boys?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you need to come out and take McLean's spot Thursday so he can rest his voice for Friday night, since he's taking the big chair,
You know what? I often thought, what's it going to be like if someday I retire? And I think I just found out.
I said this to you last show we had. You're basically
sit in that chair again.
You're basically Drew Bledsoe giving the ball right now to the next Tom Brady potentially. You could be out forever.
So I want to share a little story about Greg Calvin. We're in the tower doing our thing, and he looks over to me. He says, "Hey, 2 weeks ago, did you almost pass out while we were announcing? Like, were you falling asleep?" And I said, "Funny you say that. Yeah, it was early in the night in the heat races, and I was struggling. Like, I don't know why I was getting dopey." And I said, "Were you so worried about it? You brought it up 2 weeks later? Like, I could have been lying in a heap beside you, and you bring it up 2 weeks later. Like, real nice." Yeah, that's about how much I cared about it. I was just curious.
I always remember one time I called Greg about something, and I said, well, but don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. He goes, well, it was a big enough deal for you to pick up the phone and call me. And I'm like, okay, you're right. I guess it was a bit of a big deal to me then.
Greg is.
Do you want to tell the fans what? Do you want to tell the fans about Boothquake 2025?
Listen, I want a slingshot, is what I want, because whoever those little demons were that were shaking. So we're in the tower announcing, and it starts shaking, and I've never felt an earthquake before. But the whole tower is vibrating. Like my chair is going to fall over. So I look over at Greg, and he's like, what the heck is going on? We're looking over at the officials. They're looking back. Like, what in the world? This is an earthquake. So we start
No, actually, hold on. We found out what it was. Spencer, do you got the picture? It was Boothquake.
Wow. Who put the effort into that?
I got it from one of our mini stock drivers. Okay, so there you are, you and him on the front. No, put it back. There's so much going on in that image. So at the top left there, you guys are doing the the Titanic pose. Yeah. In the next one, you're doing the second part of the Titanic where he's drawn the picture of it. It's you in the dinghy at Sauble Beach, and Greg's painting the picture. And I don't know where the bottom images are from, where he's trying to save you from drowning on the board, but that's just great.
I'm going to admit something. I have work counterparts watching. I have people watching this show tonight, and look at what you've done to me.
It's got me and a banana under the G-Force production also in the upper right. So
that's true.
Our fans are the best. It's awesome.
So
now you realize we're going to have to cordon it off because every kid's going to try and shake it to get all this talking reaction from you every week now.
So it turns out it was kids shaking the cross members at the base of the tower. And listen, I'm going to do a frog splash off the top of the tower on one of them if they do it this week. So fair warning, parents.
You'll be in Montreal or GP3R, I should say. So the good thing about this week is McLean and Jack are young enough to go down and beat the piss out of the kids, whereas we can't put our hands on them. But the junior bouncing crew will go down there this week. If you do get a chance to check it out, we joke about it, but McLean, Callan, Greg's son's going to join him in the booth for the whole night this week to replace Adam, and we're excited to have that. He'll be doing lineups and everything Adam does, including falling asleep and bitching about food. So we'll welcome McLean to the booth this weekend. My boy Jack is going to do a couple of victory lanes, I think, and join on the call to race with McLean like they do on Thursday. So we're going to have fun in Adam's absence this weekend, Friday at Ashwigan. It is Christmas in August, so if you bring in an unwrapped gift, you get $5 off the grandstand admission, watch for Santa Claus, and other cool stuff going on.
Before we get to our next guest, which is going to be fantastic, it was really nice to see Bill Grisdale and Adam Lockwood out at the races last night. Adam suffered a fall this spring. He's having a tough time recovering from that. Bill doesn't get out to the races as much as he used to. I sat with Alvers for much of the evening, and we didn't fight about anything. It was kind of weird. OJ was there, Oswego John. So I'm forbidden. You know how we call Ashwigan the Big O from time to time?
Yes.
Well, Oswego John gets upset and says, no, Oswego is the Big O. So you're going to have to say the Big O of Canada. Or I said, yeah, that's likely not going to happen, John. But I appreciate the input. So there was a lot going on last night, but really cool to see all the people that were there.
I just want to quick mention Bill from New Brunswick mentioned we got to meet Bill at Delaware a couple weeks back. So Bill, thanks for checking in. Let's jump in with Sean Chenoweth. Sean had a couple of big days there. Sean, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time. I know you got a lot of race cars and kids to work on, and by kids I mean your race cars because they're your babies. But you had your most favorite baby out this weekend and running good. You've told us on this program before how much you love that super late model. And boy, did it ever take care of you this past weekend. Let's talk about how your past few days went.
Yeah, we had a rough go over the first couple days of the weekend. Delaware, we went with the super. We just didn't have the overall speed that Jake Sheridan had. But we had a solid second place car. A little bummed out. I went there with high hopes. Second, I know wouldn't bum most people out, but it was pretty bummed out for me. And then we went up to Sawwolf with the APC car, and well, I got into a lot of messes and wrecked my own stuff, and that was the end of that. And then yesterday was great.
Sean, does it matter to you who you beat in a race? There were some big super late model teams, some big names in the sport. Do you take notice of that, or do you just expect to be the best?
I don't expect to be the best. I just want to go in there with a shot every time. I had a little, I don't know, a chip on my shoulder going in the other night because it's been a lot of talk about that race, but not a lot of mention of the 89, and it's been pretty stout everywhere we've been. So I wanted to go out and prove a point, and we were going out and set it on the pole, and I think we proved the point in the feature that we got a pretty strong program.
Sean, let's talk about the race. You know, a longer race in those types of cars. You know, the fuel break, lots of things that maybe Flamborough fans aren't used to seeing. You know, from your perspective, did things go, you know, as to plan, and how Caselli and those guys wanted it all to go? The crowd seemed really good.
I think John was really happy at the end of the night. I talked to him for a few minutes there. They had an awesome crowd, both sides, in the pits and on the other side. And unfortunately, the car count wasn't as strong as it looked like it was going to be. They had some guys break motors and crash, a couple crashed at Delaware and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure John was pleased, and I'm happy to see the place. Like, it was electric last night there. It was good to see.
Yeah, that's a great word for it too, Sean. I've got a question for you. Why is that track so wide for a super late model? Watching you guys work lap traffic, you quite often would go into a lane that you would never run in your pro late.
Well, those cars have a ton of body on them. I know a lot of people don't think air means as much at the short tracks, but it's free. It's free downforce. It helps everywhere we go, and that's, I guess, the tires are maybe a little better than the late model, but I think it's overall the air and just. I mean, you got to go, and there's a lot of usually differential. Like, you can, if your car's working, you can usually beat on it pretty good because you got big motor to back you up if you don't get through the center of the corner right. Whereas a crate car, you got to be on point, perfect every lap.
You know, I'm kind of shocked by the scheduling that there's not spread out more. They have those two races about 4 days apart, right? And I don't know whether that helped or hurt the car count, I guess, depending on who you ask. But when are you up next with this car, Sean, and how many races are you typically getting this car out for a year?
Well, because we're running APC, I had to miss a few of them, but I believe their next race is September 20th, and we're available that day to go. But I might have Andy Camrap drive the car if he grows a pair and jumps in it. I've offered to him every race this year, and he won't get in it. And then we're at Flamborough at the end of the year again with it.
It was Andy running the legend car up at Sauble, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, he got himself a legend car, and he's working away at trying to get that thing to the front. It looks exciting. I actually sat in it at Sauble. He keeps bugging me to drive it, so maybe we can convince each other to jump in each other's cars.
You should. So, did you watch that up at Sauble? Like 37 Legends cars. I thought that racing was phenomenal.
Oh, they put on a good race. It's they're really intriguing to me. I've never looked or touched any kind of race cars like that, so it's really interesting to me. I don't have a ton of time to get with Andy and see if we can learn anything or not, but I mean, he's doing a great job, and he's got some guys in the States he's been talking to, and I'm sure when he gets that thing sorted out, he'll be a force.
Sean, what are you looking forward to coming up in the next couple weeks? Any races on your calendar? We know the Gold Rush was obviously circled. Anything else you got really your eyes on going ahead?
Well, I always got my eyes on every race coming up, but like I said, I went up to Sauble and I got frustrated and wrecked the whole front of my own car, trying to send a message. So I'm going to be at least a week of myself fixing that. Unfortunately, I can't just drop this thing off somewhere and pay them to fix it like a lot of the guys. So it's all done here, and not the free weekends I got, I look like I put myself in position to be working and not racing.
Sean, it's funny you bring that up because you've been racing a long time. When is it more important? And I'm not going to single you out. Junior Farley did it to Cole Quinton. Like Cole got aggressive with him, and Junior turned him. I think your issue with Shea Gemmell, and I can't remember the other, but there was. When is it more important to stick up for yourself, and when is it more important to finish and keep your track position?
Well, first of all, it's always important to finish and keep your track position. I mean, none of us that get into those little battles, I'm sure, are proud of what went down at the end of the night. But if at the end of that night in particular, when you have 5 to 7 drivers at one guy's trailer and everyone's got a problem with them, generally it isn't the 5 or 7 other guys that were doing all the bad stuff that night. And I've got it passed and with Shea, and I just had enough. And I mean, lap 18, when you're trying to drive through people, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, I don't know where we're going at lap 18 in such a hurry. I sent a message back. I'm sure he doesn't care. That's just Shea's way of going about things, but I felt better about it when it was done. And then after I got off the track at the end of the night, looked at the front of the car, I thought, well, that's going to be a lot of work again. But okay. Sometimes you got to send the message.
I've got a follow up to that. I get it, Sean. Do you often mentor young racers?
I've talked to a few young guys, but I'd like to help more than I get enough time to do now. But I mean, really, the last few guys I worked with were Jake Watson a little bit, and I talked to a few super late guys that were coming in at Delaware, but it's not an every week thing. It's just they maybe not think I'm an approachable guy, but I'm more than happy to share any knowledge I might have. But I think the respect in our racing now, it just keeps going down and down and down, and I'm tired of fixing my shit every 2 weeks. Like it's dumb. Like we're racing for 10th or 11th, like $50 a spot, whatever it is. The fenders on these friggin' cars are $400 and $500. Like, what are we doing? Like, if we're racing for the win, I'm all for game. Let's beat it up. Let's do it. But like, I'm sitting here right now. Like I said, the front end's my deal, but the back bumper and the whole left side of my car is destroyed. There's not a mark on the right side, and to me, that kind of shows you I got used up most of the night at Sabo.
Yeah, totally. The reason I asked you that about mentoring young racers is, how would you teach that? Again, I know your dad raced, so I know you grew up at the track. But for someone you're trying to help, when do you stop taking it and start giving it back? And how would you explain that to someone who's not Sean Chenoweth, who doesn't have decades of that experience?
I think you get a pretty quick reputation of guys, and you just got to let people know you can't be taken advantage of. I mean, I'm as guilty as anyone is maybe going too far and losing my cool. I'm not going to shy away from that. But you got to eventually, I mean, one or two times, but if it's the same guy over and over, apologizing, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get in you. Eventually, like, control your car. Like, learn how to drive your own car, and then we'll be fine. Like, the end of Sabo, I'm sure Shea didn't notice. He was having a good run at the end there. But I ran underneath him for 4 or 5 laps and never touched him. Like that, to me, we can do this. Like, I'm just trying to prove a point here, and he just doesn't seem to get it on a regular basis.
Fair enough. Let's switch up the topic here, Sean. You know, Sunset makes an announcement while we're all up there that they're pulling the plug at the end of this year. We don't have anything official. We don't have no future talk yet. Anything that you're hearing on the, grapevine or the chat that might have went on in the past couple of days that, what might be going on there? Obviously unofficial and just bullshit.
Only thing I've heard, and it's like you say, it's rumblings through whoever, was there's some talk of possibly a promoter doing 4 or 5 races there throughout the summer. I don't know if the ownership's interested in that program. I don't know what all is the deal. I just know Brian and his wife would like to enjoy their retirement, and they've ready to pack it in. And I mean, I hope somebody steps up, and I hope the ownership lets it move on, because we can't really afford to lose racetracks. It's pivotal that we keep as many as we can got. We don't got many left.
No, you're right on there, Sean. What was your take? You probably weren't listening at the start, but John Casale was just at the gate when I was coming in last night, and he was shaking his head and bitching at how many people were in the pits because it made him nervous. It was like he wants them in the grandstands, but I totally get why people want to be in the pits. He was nervous about it. When was the last time you saw that amount of commotion on the pit side at Flamborough Speedway?
Last year's Gold Rush was pretty good. I don't know if it was quite that good, but I'm sure John was not nervous or anything by the end of the night. When I talked to him, he was quite pleased. I think he figured he had about 1,800 or 2,000 people in the pits, which is not hard to do the math. That's a pretty good day. The grandstands at Flamborough are huge, so it takes a lot of people to fill them up, and they look pretty full to me, even on the grandstand side. Like, I'm sure he had a really good day. From talking to Mike today, I think John almost sold out of food, which is unheard of for that place. Like, he never runs out of food, so he had a good day, and I'm happy for him. Like, he's got to have them events, keep that place going too, right?
100%.
Sean, last one I got for you. Just want to talk about Great Canadian Weekend coming up at the end of September. You know, they've put up a bonus for a super stock guy who could possibly win both. That kind of folds right into your wheelhouse because you've got both those cars, probably planning on racing both of them that weekend already. What are your thoughts on the extra money that's being kicked up as Delaware tries to work this Great Canadian Weekend into a bigger event? Now with extra payouts for both the classes that you participate in and a $10,000 bonus if you can win the Super Stocks Friday and the APC race on Saturday.
Yeah, it's unreal what those guys are doing. Like, all the tracks have stepped up every year. It seems like every track is another big event, and it's unreal what they're doing down in Delaware. I don't think I have a shot or a prayer in hell, but I mean, it's there to go for. But I'm not very decent in either car at that racetrack, so I mean, unless the stars all align, maybe we can make it happen. That'd be cool. But it's really cool that they got it up, and I'm sure you're going to get guys like Shea Gamble. He's really fast at Delaware. He could win the late model race any day of the week, and he has lots of super stock experience there. I'm sure someone's got a car, they'll put it in it. Maybe even Kyle Steckley finds a car. Like, it's definitely generated a lot of excitement, and it'll be cool to see what it all comes down to.
No, for sure. That's going to be a fun weekend.
Well, even Lane Zardo, Lane Zardo's got a late model of his own. So there's a guy there that could go out and win both. Like, it's an exciting deal. It's cool that the tracks are doing it for us, and can't thank them enough. It definitely helps us at the end when we're racing for a little more, and we don't got to take as much out of our pocket.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on, Sean. I know you're busy. You got lots of race cars to prepare. I just hope you realize what a big voice you have in Ontario short track racing, and you've earned it by being around for a long time and not putting up with shit and never being worried about expressing your opinion, whether people agreed with it or not. There needs to be more of it.
Unfortunately for me, I did it the wrong way a lot, and I learned the hard way a lot. And to this day, some of those things still haunt when you talk to people about Sean Chenoweth. It still comes up, like how much of an idiot I was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I like to think that now I've changed my ways, and I'm racing hard and as hard as you can and clean as you can, but you can't shake those reputations. I guess you could tell a young guy that would be a good thing to tell him. Like, I've done this for 27 years, and I still hear about things I did 26 years ago. So it's
well, I will tell you this, Sean. I couldn't stand you, but I didn't know you.
You're not the only one.
No, but that's so. I raced for Dave Elliott. We ran hobby cars together. They were his cars. You and Dave had bitter feuds. Like, yeah, that's Sean Chenoweth. He's just a jerk. But I didn't know you. I still don't know you all that well, but I enjoy any conversations that we do have, because over the course of a career and being able to watch you and enjoy what you do and starting to realize what you bring to the table and how, like you say, you're approachable. You will help people if they want the help. Still, the sport needs some villains, but I don't think you fill that role anymore.
I'd like to hope we're off that page. I don't want to. It's not the most popular thing to run. I'm in a good spot now. I got lots of help. I've had lots of help for a long time now, and I've been able to learn what I can learn, and we still do all the work we can ourselves. Like that's probably the most frustrating part when you have a bad night and you get tore up by stupidity. It's like, man, I got to go home and fix this thing. It's not, somebody else isn't doing it. And that's probably another good lesson for young guys. Get out there and work on your own stuff. Don't just show up with your helmet bag and drive the car. Like learn what you're doing, and you'll see how much time it takes to hang a nose and build a rad box and whatever. And you might think twice before you drill a guy or that kind of stuff.
Good advice. Thanks, Sean, for joining us. We'll be watching for you in the upcoming weeks here.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
Sean China was the second and a big win in the Super Late Model Friday and Tuesday this past week. Good job. And get on all those racers that get out and support the deal too.
Big time. But there again, even on the pavement side, look at what Kyle Steckley has done down south, Trayton Lapsevich, Caden Lapsevich getting into a more mechanical role. And now the best of the best come up, and our drivers can contend, whether it's Chetowith, J.R. Fitzpatrick, Jake Sheridan. They're able to contend with the best. Childers, why does his first name escape me? Driver of the 10 car. I think his family owns a Wausau Speedway in Michigan. The Blount cars were up there. They have success everywhere they go. But just like Ashwigan, this current generation of short track racers is as good as, maybe they're not Junior Hanley just yet. They're not legends just yet. But even at the time, Junior Hanley wasn't a legend. You know, when he was
still
doing
too young for that.
Right. But they're damn good. Blake, sorry. Thank you, guys. Brain farts are terrible, and I get more.
I thought it was Brandon for some reason, so I'm glad I didn't say it. Where are we going to go for discussion
Winkus,
bit?
I think so. Winkus, thank you for putting in that question, because I saw that you asked it earlier. How did Glenn Steyer start 11th? When you have a substitute driver at Ashwigan, Clinton, do they take on the handicap of the driver they're replacing?
Not even going to sugarcoat it. Total fuck up. Total mistake. He should have been tail. No sugarcoat.
I tried to
it's the only answer I got for you.
No, that happens.
There's no bone to throw. It is what it is. It wasn't until he went down there. I thought the same thing. When they took the green, and I saw him come down the back stretch, so I'm like, shit, that ain't right. But what are you gonna do at that point? It's too late. Thankfully, Glenn just kind of faded to the back and wasn't a factor. Didn't go out and win it from that spot or nothing. So, mostly a non-factor. But yeah, definitely a mistake.
I thought there was a mistake happening in the Noel Teal Memorial after that lap 1 crash. And I started to open the door to the officials' room and then thought, you know what? It's not my business. I think they deemed some cars that stopped for the accident not a part of the accident. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm not an official, I'm just an announcer, but once in a while, if I see something I think Dave would want to know about, I'll let him know. But I thought to myself, Adam, just shut your mouth. It's not your game, as you know, Clinton, I did not shut my mouth all night long, but I did in that moment.
No, you brought it up there. I remember you asking me who was involved and who wasn't. I don't know which particular car you were upset about, but
not upset. I just I'm sure I seem more hyper vigilant because Connor's racing in the class, but I don't give a shit if he starts 17th or 21st. Like, it's not my problem. I'm just glad when he avoids the mishaps. And but I was curious how they determined who was in it, who wasn't in it. But I do think you should reward someone for stopping to avoid a wreck.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what cars we're talking about. We'll have to watch that back together one night, which we never will, and figure out what we're talking about. We don't need to rehash it here, but, I mean, you can ask Dave particularly how he was governing that.
I think Kiana might have been one of them. How good has Kiana Teal been running?
Yeah, solid runs. Our crate division's been insane lately.
Good racing. Really good. It was a good show Friday.
All right, let's talk about a couple things. We talked about Great Canadian Weekend. That's coming up at the end of the season with Delaware, so we can wipe that off. Make sure you check that out. Last weekend of September, Delaware, Friday, Saturday. 5 division champions going to be done. Stuart Friesen update. Let's knock that off the board, too. Jessica put out a release today. Throw that up, Spencer, if you can. Said that thrilled to be reunited at home as Stuart has been released from the hospital. It's been a long 9 days for the family. Stuart continues to be in pain as he recovers, but they're happy to have him at home to recoup before they start the physical therapy process. Thankful to the team at the Albany Medical Center, especially the trauma team, for their incredible work. The procedures to reconstruct his... This where I don't think anybody realized how serious these injuries were. Procedures to reconstruct his shattered pelvis, his right leg, fibia, and tibia went smoothly. So I shattered my leg skiing, so I had plates and screws put in there as well. He will have some extra plates and screws, rods, and pins as well, so they filled him up with a bunch of titanium. He also fractured a C7 in the spine, Adam, so that's a neck era, so that's not good. And a fractured left hip. So those are a lot of things we didn't really hear about. Thankfully, he's on the other side of the injuries and on the road to recovery. I also want to thank the race fans for the continued support, and your purchases of racing merchandise at 1ZTs have been astounding. They can't thank you enough. We'll provide updates as Stuart continues his recovery, and look forward to seeing you all back at the track. Thanks, Jessica. So, yeah, I don't think anybody realized, so shattered pelvis, other hips broken. Man, it's just, that's a lot of injuries.
He's lucky to be alive. If you shatter your pelvis, Clinton, there are arteries that run through the middle of us that if you nick them, you're going to bleed out internally. Just wild. I see some people commenting. I would like to watch that Randy Williamson video. I have not watched it yet. But yes, those manufacturers do get together and talk about best practices and things that might improve safety. Right? It's not. They all want to beat each other. There's no doubt about it. But they want the drivers to come home safely every night.
Yeah, it's sad it took a high-profile guy like Stuart to get hurt for everybody to kind of get that refresher course. Unfortunately, it takes that. You can have a 30th place guy who gets hurt at all these tracks and doesn't quite draw the attention that something like this does. Big news for Stuart. Obviously, Christopher Bell going in the truck at Watkins Glen, and then Caden Honeycutt for the rest of the year as they try and go that. I hear a lot of chatter about the dirt modified. I mean, I'm just going to speculate here. They don't need to take that out. They don't need to run that. They don't need to prove anything. I think you see the 44 sit till Stuart's ready to get back in it.
It didn't surprise me that they're running the truck, Clinton, because I think when you stop racing, you become stagnant. You have to keep up with technology, and that team is important to them.
Yeah, and I have to wonder how the the participation aspect of it, like the number of races you participate in, dictates how many passes and how much benefits and TV money, all that stuff you get next year. So yeah. I think it's important to keep that going. Because obviously with him and Larson being the owner and Larson being the sponsor, it'd be easy to sit it out. But obviously, I think there's obviously a lot of money that goes with the truck championship as well. So if you have a chance to go out and compete for it, not surprising that they're going to continue to do that. Do we always need a white?
Let's talk about something different first, Clinton, because Cam asked, did you guys catch Rob Crick's barrel roll at Sunset? I saw a video of it, but I wasn't watching live. But I did notice last night, and I shouldn't admit this, Clinton, but I left early. I left early in the super late model feature because I knew traffic was going to be bad. I had to be up early. There were 2 different live streams going on of last night's race at Flamborough. And I think it's...
Well, hold on. Let's make sure we got the terminology right. Live stream would be what we do. Facebook Live is not really a live stream, I would call it that. Just bear with me the semantics of that.
Yeah.
And you don't think that was right?
It bothered me. And I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. But if you enter a racetrack under a media credential, do your media job, but don't take advantage of that. It's bad enough when people buy a ticket, pay their way in, and stream something. But if you're in there on a press credential, and you're also Facebook live streaming, it just seems like a low blow.
I can see that. Kind of like if you're in
And
there selling T-shirts on a media pass.
John doesn't like live streams, right? The Casalis don't. They're not comfortable with people being in there to stream their product live, concerned that it might keep fans from coming out. That's why we don't go there, Clinton, and don't produce races from Flamborough unless it's APC, who we have an agreement with.
But, just take that step further. I would say Flamborough was one of the tracks that put up heat to get us behind that paywall because they didn't want people free, right? Or we would still be giving it free on G-Force if we weren't pushed to that paywall. I mean, it wasn't us or the series that pushed for it. It was the tracks that pushed us to not give it away for free. But yeah, I it's one of those things, people are always going to give it. And I would say that normally, it's a grainy, shitty video. You can't tell what it is. But last night, if you tuned into it, you could pretty much tell what was going on if you knew who the players were already.
Yeah, Cam is absolutely right. If you want to do it, record it and post it after.
Even still, some would say that's dirty pool.
A little bit, and I don't think there'd be a ton of entertainment value to it. But that's well within reason.
Maryville has zero video now. If you want to see anything from Maryville, you got to go to it. That's it. Yes, sorry, we've been asked a couple times. Schrader is racing Ashwigan on Friday with the UMP versus Canadian mods. He has his ride-alongs there tomorrow morning, so we'll be there for corporate events. Schrader, if I understand correctly, is already in the pits at Ashwigan right now, camping for the next couple of nights, getting ready for his weekend here in Ontario. So I believe he's at Buxton on Saturday and with us on Friday.
So, Cam Harris, thank you for commenting all through. And Clinton, we'll get to your white flag right after this. I'm actually really looking forward to what Cam and Ben Hodgson put together from that mini stock weekend where they ran Delaware. Where the hell did they run? Delaware, Sunset, and Sunset? Whatever it was, 3-day weekend, and I'm looking forward to what they put together.
Let's jump into. Do we always need a white flag, Adam? I was frustrated.
Oh, flag. You should have put flag.
Sorry. Well, we run out of space.
It's race chat. Like, people might get the wrong idea. Race ride.
Yeah, there we go. Do we always need a white flag, Adam? It seems like on the pavement a lot more than the dirt. If the dirt's ready to go, you'll hear them come on the one way and say, lights out, we're going this time. And we save that extra minute or minute and a half. Why on the blacktop are we always need a white? And why do we always need the pace truck during these heats? It drives me crazy. And it wasn't me who said it was an asphalt fan who said, why do we always need the white flag?
I thought you were talking about the race, not the caution. Do we need a white? No, you race to the checkered flag. I don't care what flags they throw before then. No, you certainly don't, especially when we have constant communication with the drivers and teams. So a little bit of inside baseball. The legends that were running at Sauble, they were warned, look, don't mess around. Last year you got curfewed. You took too long. Your race was shortened. You get 30 minutes to run your race. And both nights, so they had a yellow, and they doubled the field up and gave the one to go. And the field was still there were still stragglers at the back that were straight away behind coming to the restart. So the next time, they gave a double up signal and then the one to go after that. It was much more orderly. But I really want to give props to the racers of the Legends division, who I believe ran their 25-lap race in 12 and a half minutes on Saturday, and then the race on Sunday was still not that long. I think it might have been 20 minutes. But that's a huge improvement, huge entertainment value. I thought they knocked it out of the park.
That still doesn't answer my question. Why do we need the white flag? The lineup is good.
Yeah.
They're coming down the backstretch, and we see the lineup is good. They're bunched up in perfect double file format. They paced around for 6 laps already, and then they have to come around just to get the white. And we're like, why couldn't they have just gone that time? It happened like 10 times on Saturday night. So we don't need it, right? That's what you said?
No, they don't. And there's nothing pressuring race directors to do it faster. They don't have a promoter that's in their ear or walking up behind them saying, why aren't we going? Even at Flamborough, when you see John Caselli on the track in his golf cart, the program last night was way too long. They only had 3 races, a B main for the pure stocks, A main for the pure stocks, and then the 125 lappers for super late models. Send people home at 9:30 at night, entertained, and you've hit a home run. But whatever.
How is that taking more than 4 hours? How is 2 divisions taking 4 hours? That was the big thing I heard from everybody today.
The super late model race alone was 1 hour and 50 minutes. If you look on Race Monitor, it took 1 hour 50 minutes to complete.
That's a
long.
marathon.
So I don't want to throw any shade on
Hold on. That's a marathon for the fastest lap times that you're almost ever going to see at Flamborough.
Right. You're turning 15-second laps. You can do 4 laps a minute.
The race should have taken 25 minutes if it went green to check.
Right. Completely unrelated, Clinton. Bill Pearsall stopped me and thanked me for what a great job our team does at Ashwigan. And he even acknowledged that my commentary on Friday was funny because it was the first time this year, if I'm not mistaken, it was the first time this year Greg has had to turn his microphone off because he was laughing so hard.
I'm sure it was comments about the Ponderosa Nature Resort.
Yeah, they all take that race team. This is their race team. So I mentioned how hard must it be for them all to work on that race car and all the sharp edges it has.
For those that don't know, Bill is sponsored and proprietor of the Nature Resort, which is a nudist resort. Too many good laughs. Anyways, let's move on. Car suspensions, Adam, you sent this in. What's this about?
You know what? What it's about is good for them, because if you saw the race at Hickory, there was some wild action that went on, and there was a bunch of extracurricular activity. But what I'm most impressed with, and Spencer, if you can show the image, they have certain penalties for actions detrimental to racing. They've got a fine for somebody who stepped out of line. But most importantly, yes, Matt Piercy fined $500 for leaving their assigned pit area to confront a competitor. Good. Talon Pelfrey gets a 1-race suspension for entering a competitor's car with the intent of harming the driver and or damaging the car's electrical system. Good, they're standing up for that. But most importantly, 3-race suspension to the driver who pushed a race official. And so I'm glad that they have an appropriate difference in the penalties for putting your hands on an official compared to putting your hands on another competitor.
We had an incident Friday where there was an altercation with the Thunderstocks at Ashwigan, and I got some video sent to me, so I whipped over to the pits, and they were saying, well, I didn't hear the audio. I said, I knew who was in the wrong by who was in whose pit stall. Somebody marched all the way down there, and I as soon as I saw where they were located, I'm like, well, he's wrong because he's down here in their garage trying to work it out. So we'll deal with that.
Hey, great to see Dave Gainforth at the track last night. Really, really good.
Dave fell ill in Florida in Speed Weeks, and good to see him back. I don't know what we're forgetting, but I feel like we're forgetting something. Let's jump into some Burger Barn videos of the week. It seems like these shows get further and farther apart. I don't even know what we have in our Burger Barn videos of the week. Let's have a look.
I'm just curious if you can kind of explain this lawsuit, maybe just in the simplest.
This is a great look at how the lawsuit between NASCAR. Adam, this is a quick 1 minute video. It's like the Coles Notes version of what's going on with this antitrust. Play it, Spence.
I'm just curious if you can kind of explain this lawsuit, maybe just in the simplest terms that everybody can understand.
This is an antitrust case. An antitrust case is a case which argues that the rules of competition are being violated. We have antitrust laws that regulate competition. What we are arguing here is that NASCAR is a monopoly. No surprise to NASCAR fans, there is no alternative to NASCAR, not just in this country, but frankly around the world. And it got its monopoly illegally. And the reason it got it illegally is because it tied up all the racetracks in the country, because it doesn't let any of the teams compete for any other racing circuit. It seizes the intellectual property of the next gen cars so that those are locked into NASCAR. And it engages in all of these restrictions so that the teams have no one else to deal with and the fans have no one else to deal with. What NASCAR then did, because it's run basically as the private enterprise of the France family to benefit them, is use that monopoly to force terms, economic terms on the teams that they barely can afford to be in NASCAR. In 2016, they started what's called a charter system, where the teams could pay millions of dollars to have the right to compete. There were 15 teams in 2016. 9 of them are already out of business and had to be replaced because they can't afford to put in tens of millions of dollars a year into these teams and pay the drivers, and all the money goes to the France family. That's how NASCAR is run. So the teams can barely make it, and the drivers make even less because they're just getting a piece of what the teams.
Any thoughts on that, Adam?
Not really. It'll be fought out in the courts, and nobody is being forced to have a NASCAR team. But I get that there are arguments that need to be fought in court, Clinton, but it's really not. It doesn't.
That's kind of where I'm at. Nobody forced these guys to buy the franchises. Nobody forced them to get into NASCAR. I can't wait to see how it shakes out, because to me, I don't see how they've got a case, but hey, you never know. Maybe they do. I'm sure Michael Jordan and these Front Row Motorsports aren't wasting all their millions on lawyers for no reason. So right. We will see how that plays out. Roll it, Spence. What else we got? Oh, they took a lot of flack, actually, Adam. This was Bristol being turned into a baseball diamond. It's pretty cool to see how they did this. If you've been there, it's quite the deal. It did rain on them. It got pushed to the next day. It turned out to be a shit show. But it was kind of neat how they changed the infield into a baseball diamond for the Major League Baseball Classic that they had at Bristol. Well, they took a lot of flack that they were kind of underserviced, but I guess there's a view on how you turn a racetrack into a baseball diamond.
Anything's possible.
What else, Spence?
Rounding out your top 5, Cannon McIntosh with a run to the inside as they exit turn at number 4. Back into turn number 1 as the white flag is out. Final lap. Will Cannon McIntosh make a move in turns 3 and 4? Chase McDermott working down low. McIntosh unable to get to the inside. Contact off turn 4. McIntosh and the 40 with the shark Carter Sarf going to victory lane.
I didn't expect that to happen. Uh-oh.
Are they going to show Carter Sarf's
Chase
interview?
McDermott coming off turn number 4.
You sent it, so I'm not sure what we got here.
Carter Sarf finds himself in victory lane
Yeah,
one more time.
keep
He's
watching.
climbing out of the car race, fans. How about it? The Shark wins night 1 of the Ironman.
I don't even know what to say there. I mean, that was pretty dirty on Cannon's part, really. I mean, I watched the whole thing, and he just hooked him and spun him around. So, but I mean, yeah, cool to be there and be in the right spot, and yeah, just
Even the
excited
winner.
to be here and feel pretty bad for
Even
Chase,
the winner is looking to see where Buddy's going, but he's got no beef with him. But he called him out. That's a bullshit move.
For sure. What else, Spence?
Kyle Larson through turns 3 and 4 throws the slide. He's got it. Corey Day going to try to come back after him as they work into turns 1 and 2. Corey Day down to the inside of the 14 BC.
Just a great sprint car race.
Got it. Larson back to his inside. The battle is on once again for the race lead.
How spoiled are we with flow racing and dirt vision and racing America?
Look at this race. And right there, it would be over in any other race, right?
Yep.
Pretty much gone there. But you look at some of those runs. I think I sent that and we missed the point there because I forgot why I sent it a week ago. But the deal was like, he's a full straight. Just run the start of that, Spencer, again. He's like a mile behind in the way these sprint cars get these runs. Like, look at how far back Larson is there. In any asphalt race, there's no hope.
Well, in any asphalt race, if they drive that deep, they're trying to hit the car in front of them.
Yeah. Sure, but just how far back he was and got that run and through the slider is awesome. So, gotta love that Knoxville week down there. I know that wasn't Knoxville, but man, all the lead up to it, those races are so awesome. What else, Spencer? So your buddy trying to give you signals in the grandstands as you're driving. Adam, like, I see this all the time. And one thing that's going on that I know in our realm, I've heard it twice now. I heard we got spotters on Thursdays and Fridays. So we actually have parents going on a different radio, wiring the kid up so they can spot for them at their micro sprints. So ridiculous, isn't it?
Yes.
So just so you know, I got the scanner out last week. We got a scanner in action all the time. And if I catch parents doing that, you're going to have a hard time explaining to your kid why you're gone for the rest of the year. So don't be stupid and ruin your kids like that. Like, if you're cheating for your kids, you're just cheating your kids.
Wait 1 second. Is there a rule against it?
Yeah, you know it's not allowed. You can't have any in-car communication
I know it's
on the
not.
dirt ever.
I know it's not allowed. Is there a rule in the book against it?
Yes, there is.
Okay. If not, you've just warned people, so that's good enough. I just wanted to.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. We have like 6 carts out there in some classes, and you have to spot or run a radio. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, unnecessary.
Don't be that much of a loser. All right, what else, Spencer?
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
So when the race director says take it easy into turn 1, don't go 3 wide, and the driver's like, we're gonna do it anyway. It's inside humor between me and Dave Hunsinger. All right, keep coming. Look at that bump, man. Across the railway tracks. Okay, what else?
Can Perez squeeze past? They're going wheel to wheel towards Vale now. Who's going to be last on the brakes? Leclerc has that inside line. Perez goes off the track.
What the duck is this?
Off goes Leclerc. Through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable.
I don't know. I don't even know how that got sent in. All right, keep them coming. That's all we got. Thank goodness. Woo!
Good. I need to go to
Made it
bed.
through another week. Well, what else? That's it? Got nothing else to say? That's
No,
fucking
I'm
nuts.
good. I do have something else to say. Keep it off social media. I mean, have the conversation the next week at the track, or go down and see someone at the races. Keep it off social media. You're just...
I don't know what to say, because the Joker in me wants to say names, because I read all this vague shit, and I'm trying to figure out who's talking about who,
Yes.
and where do I find these posts? Like, damn, I can't keep up with all the drama. It's just
comment.
Like, I kind of know, but it's a little too vague for me to figure it out.
Come watch our show and comment, and shit talk anybody you want.
Yeah, we never stopped anybody from saying anything they didn't want to say. Except Spencer. We don't give him a microphone.
He doesn't deserve one.
All right, let's get out of here. Here's our upcoming lineup. Thursday, tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Mac and Jack show with the micro sprints and go-karts. We're getting down to about 4 or 5 weeks to go in that. We just announced for them, Adam, Micro Sprint Nationals will be Wednesday of Nationals week. So we're going to have Wednesday, the Micro Sprint and Go-Kart Nationals. Thursday will be the Thunder Mini Stock Nationals. Friday, Crate Nationals, 360 Nationals on Saturday. So that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, we used to fight a lot more. Send us stuff to fight about. You know what we are going to argue about. You guys know how to get 2 Christmases. Let's go. Me and Adam love to argue. We just need a little bit of match and a little bit of gasoline. And
that's it.
Thing is, we've been angry about the same things lately, so it's hard to fight when you're on the same side. All right, let's go. We'll see you. We're off Saturday, so you got 2 more nights. Thursday, Friday. We'll be live. Thursday, 7, Friday, 7:30. We'll talk to you soon. What? Oh, yeah, Sunday Sabo. Sunday Sabo, free. So if you missed last week's APC broadcast, didn't catch it on Rev or on Racing America, you can catch it Sunday. What time? 7 o'clock, Spencer? 7 o'clock Sunday. Thanks, guys.
Hey, y'all.
Feel better, Cam. Talk to you soon, guys. Ciao.